There is a kind of small apartment that does everything correctly and still feels cold. And there is a kind that has a chipped mug in the cabinet and mismatched throw pillows and somehow feels like the warmest room you have ever been in. The difference is not effort. It is knowing exactly where precision belongs and exactly where to let it go. Before this philosophy makes sense, one thing needs to be said plainly. This is not an argument against precision. It is an argument about where precision belongs. There is a structural layer to every room that has nothing to do with coziness and everything to do with whether the room functions at all. Light quality, furniture scale relative to the room, the sequence of decisions that got the room to its current state. These are covered elsewhere on this channel in detail, and none of it changes here. A room with wrong light, wrong scaled furniture, or a backwards decision sequence will not become cozy no matter how many worn, imperfect objects get added on top of it. Coziness is not a rescue for a structurally wrong room. It is a layer that only works once the structure underneath it is already right. This distinction matters because most people who try to make a space feel cozy skip straight to the surface. Throw blankets, candles, warm colors, without ever fixing the structural problems underneath. The blankets cannot fix light that comes from the wrong place. The philosophy that follows only applies once this layer is settled. Once the structural layer is right, a second layer sits on top of it, and this is the layer where the pursuit of perfect quietly starts working against the room instead of for it. This is the layer of objects, textiles, and small decisions that do not affect whether the room functions, only how it feels. A perfectly matched set of dishware. Pillows that coordinate exactly. Every object new, unchipped, unworn, chosen from the same source at the same time. Structurally, none of this is wrong. Emotionally, a room built entirely from matched, uniform, brand new choices at this layer tends to read as staged rather than lived in, because nothing in it carries any evidence of an actual life happening around it. The instinct to make everything at this layer match and coordinate perfectly comes from a reasonable place. It looks correct in a photograph. But a room is not experienced as a photograph. It is experienced over months and years, and a room where every object at this layer is flawless and uniform starts to feel less like a home and more like a hotel room nobody has checked into yet. The third thing follows directly from the second, and it has a name in design philosophy that goes back centuries. The idea that something aged, worn, and used carries a kind of beauty that something new and flawless cannot replicate. A wooden table with a visible water ring from years of coffee mugs is not a flaw to be sanded out. It is evidence that the table has been sat at, used, lived around. A ceramic bowl with a slightly uneven glaze, made by hand rather than a machine, carries a warmth that a perfectly uniform mass-produced version does not, because the imperfection signals a human hand rather than an assembly line. This is not an aesthetic trick. It is a genuine psychological response. Worn and imperfect objects read as authentic, and authentic reads as safe and warm in a way that flawless and new does not. The apartment application is not to distress furniture artificially or manufacture fake wear. It is to stop replacing or hiding the real where that already exists, and to choose, when acquiring new things, objects with some handmade irregularity over perfectly uniform manufactured versions when the option exists. The fourth thing is about how objects entered the room in the first place, and it is one of the most reliable signals separating a cozy apartment from a merely styled one. A curated room is assembled quickly, often from a single source, a single shopping trip, a single aesthetic decided on and executed all at once. A collected room accumulates over time, from different places, different moments, different reasons, a piece brought back from a trip, something inherited, something found secondhand that did not perfectly match anything but earned its place anyway. The visual result of collected objects is almost never uniform, and that lack of uniformity is exactly what reads as personal rather than staged. This does not mean a room needs to be assembled over 10 years to feel cozy. It means resisting the instinct to buy an entire room's worth of objects in one trip from one store, and instead leaving some gaps unfilled to be completed slowly by things that actually mean something, rather than filled immediately by whatever matched. The fifth thing operates at the smallest possible scale, and it is where the philosophy becomes most literal. A slightly uneven stack of books instead of a perfectly straight one. A cluster of objects on a shelf grouped in odd numbers rather than even, symmetrical pairs. A throw blanket left loosely draped rather than folded into a precise rectangle. This is different from the structural precision covered in the first principle, and different from the symmetry that a separate video on this channel identifies as useful in one specific zone, a nightstand pairing for an immediate sense of calm. This is about the layer of small, low-stakes decisions where deliberate unevenness signals that a room is actually being used, not maintained for inspection. A stack of books perfectly aligned looks like it has never been touched. A stack of books slightly uneven looks like someone actually reads them. The apartment application is to notice, at this small scale, where a habit of perfecting has crept in, straightening every stack, folding every blanket into the same crisp shape, and to deliberately leave a few of these things slightly undone. The last thing is less a principle about objects and more about a habit, and it might be the hardest one to actually practice, knowing when a room is done and stopping. The instinct, once a room is close to finished, is to keep adding one more styled vignette, one more perfectly placed object, one more surface filled with something considered. But a room where every single surface has been deliberately styled starts to feel like it is performing for a camera rather than accommodating a life. Some surfaces should stay empty. Some corners should stay a little bare. This negative space is not an oversight to be filled later. It is what gives the styled parts of the room to actually be noticed, rather than competing with 10 other equally styled things for attention. Cozy rooms almost always have something in them that a perfectionist would want to fix: a surface left plain, a corner left unstyled, a shelf with visible gaps. Leaving it that way is not a failure to finish. It is the finishing move itself. Get the structure right so precisely that you never have to think about it again. Then let everything on top of that structure be worn, collected, slightly uneven, and specifically yours. That is the whole philosophy. Precision where it counts. Perfect abandoned everywhere else. Subscribe for more, and tell us below where you have been chasing perfect when you should have let it go.